Hi, my name is Erin Stewart, and I'm the founder of Scenic West Design. In today's AI UX Teardown, we're going to take a look at YouLearn AI, an AI tutor that takes learning materials and turns them into interactive chats, quizzes, and other content. This one caught my attention because we do a lot of work in the EdTech space, and one important thing that the education industry in general is going to have to navigate is how do we build on top of all of the wealth of knowledge and materials, textbooks, uh, classic methods of instruction, etc., with the new opportunities that AI is going to present us as educators, learners, etc. And this is something that we've been talking a lot with established EdTech companies or publishing companies about in terms of how do you take your past business model and all of the value that you offer your customers in whatever form, either technology, content, etc., or maybe both, and evolve that business model and your product offering into the new AI era. We're going to have to navigate competing with AI first tools, but we really want to take the value that we already have, the customer base and loyalty we already have, and introduce it and bring it forward into the AI era. So this one caught my attention because it seems like it's a tool where if I upload, say, a textbook, I'm getting new value from it directly. Looks like a slick interface. I've never logged in before, so we're going to do that together now. So first, let's just look at their marketing website. So I do like that this shows me, in theory, what the actual interface looks like. I think one thing I've noticed is that especially like AI for startups that are kind of really rapidly iterating on their feature set, they seem hesitant to put something like this on the site because it's like, oh, it's going to change tomorrow, or it's like constantly shifting. But I would encourage companies at all stages to really show the user what to expect. We also have talked a lot about removing that paywall. So don't require a credit card to do a free trial. Make sure somebody really understands the value, because currently everyone's experimenting with AI tools. So you might catch their attention in terms of your offering, but there's a lot of noise out there to compete with. So you want to make it as easy as possible for somebody to try it so you didn't lose them before they even got to know what you have to offer. There's a lot of education, of course, in terms of new AI features. It's like what to expect, how to use it, how to think about it, that you have to navigate as well when you're launching an AI education product. I like that they call out major universities. It does raise the question of, is this also for K-12 school districts? What about, is it for the individual learner, or even perhaps a parent to offer maybe a high school student based on what I'm assuming the functionality is. So skewing higher ed, I'm assuming, though. Also, are they targeting things like corporate learning and development, professional associations, etc., which is a huge market as well. But this seems maybe like it's focused on higher ed, at least for now. I like that it shows different courses and testimonials, maybe move the social proof higher up. But let's click into a course and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is cool. It looks like I just dropped into maybe sample content. Just to call out from a UX pattern standpoint, this idea of your main content on one side and then this like panel for your chat next to it is very common. Of course, you'll also see that like collapse down in the bottom right, and we're opening or overlaying on top of content. And then sometimes you'll have screens where perhaps your main AI activity is over here, but your sidebar of like metadata and context or resources and knowledge you're linking to it is over here. So the split screen sort of workflow is common. This looks like it's a YouTube video and maybe just one piece of intro content. It's like, okay, oh no, it's like a full course, it looks like. But let's see. So one thing I would improve on this is I would expect to maybe have some recommended questions. These are nudging me to try things, but I'm not sure I don't know, like it feels like to go cold start into this feels a little weird. Like I kind of want it to, let's see. And then I also see this learn versus search. Okay, so I assume this is maybe isolating it to the content, but that'd be helpful to educate a user on. Here, let me try like briefly summarize what to expect from the course. Okay, and then of course it hits me with a sign in, sign up. So um, this, I think this modal could be a lot better. So at this point, I'd want to see like the Google sign in, or even have like one thing I've noticed, like, I have mixed feelings about it, but a lot of like the LLM tools and stuff, you just see like your Google account kind of pop automatically over here, and like you can change it or like decline it, but this feels very like I don't know, honestly, like an AI tool designed this, and we've got to do better than that. So I talk a lot about if it's something that now is easy to do with AI, that is no longer going to give you, you know, any sort of competitive advantage. Maybe it will for a minute, but I think that's a false sense of being ahead of your competitors. You really have to take it that extra mile and do something that AI cannot do for you strategically or design wise. And there's different places where that makes sense, but something like this, where it's a major conversion point in their funnel, needs more work. So I'd want to see Google sign in, other social sign in. I'd want to see something that's more enticing as to why. Tell me I'm going into a free trial and you're not charging me, if that's true. But just like anticipate those sort of friction points. But this feels like, okay, well, now I have to click to even know what I'm committing to. And like even this screen, like just nudging me to this piece here would be better. There's also a missed opportunity here to reinforce the social proof, the value prop, even just the experience to expect. Let's back out for a second here. A couple things. So far I've gone through pricing is not in my face. I didn't hit at the end of the screen like a pricing grid, which honestly at some points, like before you've even seen the product, it's like I don't even really want to read the feature grid, because how would I know if this is valuable? Over here, it looks like we've got a free tier. Pro yearly is $12 a month. Monthly is $20. To me, if I'm taking a challenging course as a student, or I mean, I'm a full-time student, like $20 a month. I mean, obviously, if you're in college, maybe have limited budget, so $20 matters. But if this really is delivering high value as in helping me succeed as a student, to me, it's a no-brainer. If I'm a parent of a college student, same thing. I would encourage them to use the resources that they have access to. Let's see. I also noticed that it calls out podcasts. I'm wondering if that's like me or voice chats. I'm kind of hoping that this is a podcast that's AI generated for me to help me learn. I think that's really cool if that is that. I might be disappointed when I get in, but just throwing out that like prediction or hope that would be like really awesome as like a new way to learn. And then custom for a team. So this one thing I think is missing here is if you're really trying to sell to, say a university where every student gets this, nothing on this page other than like this hint here is helping me understand that this is maybe something that my organization wants or why I should do that. They'll probably evolve to that. I think that's pretty common that you kind of see somebody go after maybe like the B2C market and then scale up from there in terms of sales strategy. But I'd be curious to see where they're going to be 6 months from now. I also, wanted to show they have on their marketing site, they have this YouTube video summarizer. I'm imagining they're using this as like a lead magnet, but I wanted to drop in a YouTube video just to test this out. We'll probably let it run in the background. If it's not instant, I would expect it might take some time, but let's see what a summary looks like. So same thing here. It's like this really flat, kind of falling short sign up, but obviously at this point we're headed into signing up, so we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to pause for a second and get into my Google account. Okay, so signing into my Google account was as expected. Here it's just asking me to confirm language, auto-selected, which is good. How do I want to use YouLearn? Work study, I mean, I guess it's for work really. Upskill my current. Let's see. Do something like that. So we did this. Okay, I actually double checking, so I think it's interesting. They show it listed as Chat GPT. Like I actually found it through doing some research in Claude, but that's not listed, but we'll just say search. Okay, so here again, we have these kind of really plain modals. And I'm assuming this might be a guided tour. So I'm going to upload. Oh, interesting. Being able to highlight is kind of cool and only talk about that section. I like that. Quizzes. Okay, so this is giving me a good like set of inspiration of like, okay, I saw one or two things I'm going to go do right now, or I need that. Reinforces what they have on the marketing site. I think this is fine. I like the visuals. I think, a lot of people X out of these. I also am starting to really favor, a 30-second to a minute video intro. It could be a few minutes. I've seen ones where it's like the first 30 seconds is kind of things you want everyone to know, and then there's even a drop-off point, maybe a minute or two, and it's like, all right, you're good to go if you want, but here's a few things I'll recap if you'd like to stick around. And like that's always kind of like an interesting way to play it, because it almost makes you more likely to stick around. But yeah, let's X out of this. So what do you want to learn? Upload, paste, or record? So this is interesting. I would assume I either have like video files from my course, a textbook, etc. Before I went to try this out, I did grab, so I'm going to jump over here. So I'm on just manybooks.net. It looks like they have free book PDFs. I studied economics in undergrad, so I'm going to grab this Adam Smith text. It downloaded it. Okay, I mean, we're not really reviewing this, so we'll just do that. Let me pause and grab that download. Okay, so I went to grab a text and upload it, and one thing I was thinking about is how, as I created my account, no expectation was really set of like how much I'm getting free, and before I even get to see value from the product, I'm getting hit with this upgrade, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm unclear if I can't even test a PDF without paying, or if there's something about the content, but like I should be getting something for free. So I'm going to jump back over pricing. Yeah, it says 3 uploads, paste a day, etc. So not really clear why I got that. I'm going to X out of it. Oh, I did. So if you saw it that time. Okay, so I just tried uploading again, and I did see very briefly a flash of it was a larger file and too many pages. So I'm going to pause and grab something shorter. Okay, so from the logged in sort of default state of this dashboard, I initially tried to upload a text that was over 100 pages, and I was getting an error, but the thing that was on the screen primarily was a upgrade modal, and there was a little error that popped here, but it left really quickly. So it took me a couple of tries to even realize that was the error. I think as a new user, and maybe I've got a textbook, PDF, or something like, I think it's very likely you would have over 100 pages, so that should really be explained on the page. But I grabbed the first 50 pages of a text, and I just dropped that in. That actually worked really quickly to show it up on the page, like on the screen. I've got my view here. I'm assuming I can. Oh, that's kind of weird. I'm looking for how to like. Okay, so I have to scroll. It looks like, and I can jump here. The interaction there is maybe a little funky. I know from the onboarding that I can highlight something and ask a question. Oops, I have no idea. There we go. So let's try something like, so I have this here. I can read aloud. That's kind of nice. Explain. So I like that when I highlight something, the interaction over here feels like it needs some enhancements, but I do like that I can hit explain. I also feel like it could reinforce like, oh yeah, so it says chat, but like ask a question might be better, but yeah, so let's explain it. Oh, that's heavy. Okay, so that's what I copied in, which I mean for transparency is okay, I guess. Lay the foundation. Okay, there's that. It's giving me still paragraph text, but like with some bold things. It's still pretty long, and like I would probably at this point, in a world where people are like not reading text as much anymore, I'd want to be able to have this maybe speak to me. I also honestly would love for it to have like more creative content outputs, but I think like that's just something that will still evolve over time. I'm just curious. Oh, I didn't really mean to do that. Okay, that's not helpful. Like, make the summary shorter. Okay, so like this is more of what I wanted, but that's like how I prompt it. We'll shift that. I'm noticing I've got some different models here. I have to upgrade to use these. Those are, advanced features. I do have voice where I can talk to AI. Won't test that now. And then let's see. Okay, turn this content into a natural sounding podcast with AI voices. So yeah, this is really interesting. So I'm going to see what this looks like. It allowed me to do that for free. This modal here, so this is what I was seeing on Upload previously. And same thing here. It says unlimited here. If I upgrade, but it should really specify if there's any size limits. Maybe upload files each up to 2,000 pages. So basically, the free tier is not going to work if you need to upload a full textbook or book. It is enough to let you use like sample content or try the features, but I feel like it's still stripping away the real value of the product. So I would rather, I think in their case, I like the free tier. I think that is correct pricing strategy wise, but the details of what you give in that maybe isn't quite there. And I think at this point, for the model they have, if like they kind of have to charge for the full book thing, which I mean, I think that's fine if once somebody sees value in it. I think I'd rather them do like a 7, 14, whatever day trial, or like I can upload anything, but maybe I get capped at the number of questions I ask for it or things like that. So I think there's just like other ways to navigate it, but let's go back and see. So podcast is still generating. I am curious to like see like, do I actually even like the content? Because I mean, if you're reading kind of a dry like textbook or other piece of content, like, I mean, if it's an engaging podcast, that's awesome. But if it's like really flat and it's just somebody like reading it to me, like, I don't know. Yeah, it could be weird. We'll see. And then, okay, flashcards. Let's see, create a flashcard. I do like in theory that I just click to create things. It does make me wonder if they should just be generated kind of by default or start generating. And like, okay, that's still generating. Oh, here we go. And then I'm just kind of curious, like, how do I give it feedback or edit it? Okay, so flashcards, I can change that. I mean, if they're AI generated, I don't see people editing those very often, but I guess if you're really studying, you probably, maybe there is something specific you'd want to change. I'm just trying to look at, oops. Okay, so okay, I like that it takes me to the page. I'd almost want to see that more prominently. I also like that, okay, if I feel like I've mastered this, I can basically it gives me these, and I'm assuming that it'll reserve that card to me in that amount of time. That's interesting. So yeah, they have a lot of cool features here. We won't wait for the podcast, but okay, interesting. Oops. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think if I were actually in school and taking a bunch of challenging courses, this could be interesting. This could be really cool, recording content. Let's check that UI, audio source. So a couple things here. I like that it's focused on recording and like different types of scenarios. I like that you don't need to know what the source is to know that that's what you want to do. And then the mic versus browser tab, it's kind of like format agnostic. It's just recording method that feels pretty clear. Let's record this. Okay, so UI wise, let me make, so I've got start recording to view chapters. Okay, so I will say I understand why they wouldn't default to recording, but I do think that this, to me, read as end recording, and it took me a little bit to realize I wasn't, and I could see that being very frustrating if you missed multiple minutes of something important. Allow mic access. Okay. Okay, so I obviously clicked on it without doing that intentionally. So it wanted me to click allow mic access. I didn't do that. Then I get this state and I can't actually record. So like, again, if it's time sensitive and you're just trying to use it really quickly in a course or a conversation, that would be frustrating. Let me hit refresh. Okay, so now we're gonna go in and do the thing. Oh, that's interesting. So I hit allow and it pinged on my phone, which I wasn't expecting. That's okay, but let me hit, I mean, I don't know. I guess that is weird. I guess I don't really like that, but I guess it's synced to my computer. I don't know. But anyways, let's keep, I'm unblocked now, so can keep going there. But just that little friction there in general, I think it gives you like a little hesitation, or it maybe suggests like, it gives you pause on like, is this going to be the quality I want? In terms of experience, recording quality, transcript quality is a big thing. And so, for example, like some of these more AI first tools, it's like if the transcription is kind of mediocre still, depending on what tech stack they're using, like the idea of like not showing that. But I think people are increasingly expecting that, yes, I want the AI summary, but I still always want the transcript. And then one step further for best practices, if you're summarizing something with AI, the AI should be citing the transcript specifically, so little like annotations I can click in and see the reference is important. This UI feels like it makes sense. I mentioned a couple things about like it was confusing to start recording, but let's pause here and see what it does. Okay, it's telling me to wait a couple minutes for the recording to process. I don't really like the placement of these. I feel like if we're going to use that style, to at least put it up there. So I don't know, but or to the left. I mean, obviously I have this blocking, but still. Okay, so I like that it gave me chapters. Obviously, I was talking about stuff that's not like a course, but that would be really nice for a course. I also okay, and I like that when I click into something it's generating. Performance-wise and everything, I realize we don't want to fire like starting all of those things, but that idea of like the less I have to wait or the more it's anticipating what I like, the better. We see here, I don't know why those are S's, but I like, in theory, it doesn't really seem to go anywhere, but in theory it's referencing my stuff. Oh, and this is interesting. So it created, I guess this might be their mind map functionality, but I think that's interesting. I'm looking to see if this even makes sense though. So I wasn't expecting this, and it doesn't totally make sense, but it did capture what I was saying correctly in a visual way, which is obviously a great learning tool. So the idea that if an instructor is explaining something and it's capturing these visuals and they're actually correct in that if I study those visuals, they would get me further in the course or in my comprehension. That's really cool. So I really love that feature. Yeah, so we'll stop here, but a lot of cool functionality. There's some things that are falling flat on the free trial onboarding flow. There's some expectations that were misaligned in terms of my upload not working the first time, which some people may not have gotten past. There's also some friction around hitting record in that, but overall the record UI was like pretty clean once I got over that hurdle, and then in theory when I came back next in time it wouldn't be a problem. And really so far my favorite thing has been this like visual output from summarizing audio content, which I think is really cool.